Bringing you the latest from around the world, this is NNC, Neural Newscast.
Live from the Neural Newscast Global Information Center, I'm Andrew Lindbeck. Today is August 23, 2025. On this day in 1927, Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti were executed in Massachusetts after a controversial trial that stirred global debate. Political headlines are next. A federal judge has issued an order barring funding cuts tied to sanctuary policies affecting more than 30 U.S. jurisdictions. Here's Cassandra Joyce with more.
A federal judge blocks President Donald Trump from withholding grants to Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and 30 other jurisdictions over their sanctuary policies. The order says the administration cannot condition public safety funds on immigration cooperation. The White House argues cities should aid federal enforcement, calling it a public safety issue. Many local leaders counter that mandatory cooperation erodes community trust and strains policing. This fight reflects a long-running debate over federal authority versus local control. Supporters see sanctuary limits as protecting civil liberties. Critics view them as undermining immigration law. The legal battle likely continues.
The Pentagon has removed the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency amid controversy over intelligence assessments related to Iran strikes. Here's Daniel Grove with more.
The Pentagon removes the Defense Intelligence Agency director weeks after a draft assessment challenges President Donald Trump's claim that U.S. strikes obliterated nuclear sites in Iran. Officials do not cite the report as the reason, and personnel moves like this often involve multiple factors. Supporters of the dismissal call it routine accountability within the chain of command. Critics see potential pressure on intelligence to align with White House messaging. This debate reflects broader tensions over how intelligence informs policy, especially on Iran's nuclear program and U.S. strike effectiveness. The administration maintains its operations meet strategic goals.
The FBI has searched the home and office of former National Security Advisor John Bolton in an investigation into classified material handling. Here's Monica Kellen with more.
The FBI searches the home and office of John Bolton, former National Security Advisor, as agents investigate whether he shared or kept classified material. Bolton denies wrongdoing. The case highlights a broader debate over how officials handle secrets after leaving office. Supporters of aggressive enforcement say mishandling classified files risks national security. Civil liberties advocates warn such probes can chill speech and politicize disputes over memoirs and records. These are competing perspectives in ongoing discussions over classification, transparency, and accountability. This is Monica Kellen for Neural Newscast.
From the World Desk, here's what's new. A UN-backed panel confirms famine in Gaza City and nearby areas, declaring conditions catastrophic. It estimates about 500,000 people face starvation-level deprivation amid the collapse of food, clean water, and medical care. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres calls the situation a failure of humanity and urges immediate safe aid access. Assessors report widespread malnutrition, disease, and soaring child hunger as aid trucks remain severely limited. Aid groups stress secure corridors and deconflicted routes are urgent. We turn to Ukraine, where the toll of war is deeply personal. A Ukrainian soldier returns home after imprisonment in Russia, showing signs of deep trauma and ongoing struggles. Here's Thomas Golding with more.
A 25-year-old Ukrainian soldier, Serhiy Hrebenik, returns home after release from a Russian prison, profoundly changed. He joins thousands of former prisoners of war shaped by Europe's bloodiest conflict since World War II. Family members say he struggles with sleep, sudden noises, and crowded rooms. His unit fights near the Eastern Front, where shelling and casualties remain high. Health workers warn trauma can outlast the battlefield. Serhiy says he is grateful to be alive, but the war stays inside.
Sri Lankan authorities have arrested a former president amid a broad corruption investigation into alleged graft and bribery. Here's Nathaniel Cohen with more.
Sri Lanka detains a former president on corruption charges as a sweeping probe intensifies. Investigators are examining contracts, political donations, and alleged misuse of public funds across multiple ministries. The ex-leader denies wrongdoing and is preparing a legal defense. The arrest heightens political tension in Colombo and could reshape the opposition. Anti-corruption officials promise a thorough process, with court appearances expected in the coming days. This is Nathaniel Cohen for Neural Newscast.
For economic analysis, here's what's new. Fed Chair Jerome Powell signaled the Fed may cut rates, a move that quickly lifted stocks and eased Treasury yields. Here's Ethan Wells with more.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell signals a possible interest rate cut in the coming months, and stocks jump. Powell says the Federal Reserve sees cooling inflation and a slowing labor market, increasing confidence to ease policy. Investors price in a cut as soon as September, with a second move possible by December. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq surge on the outlook, while Treasury yields slip. Powell emphasizes the Fed will stay data-dependent and avoid rekindling inflation. A cut could lower borrowing costs for mortgages, auto loans, and business credit, supporting growth into year-end. This is Ethan Wells for Neural Newscast.
This is NNC, Neural Newscast. We're here every day with reliable, fast-paced reporting that combines the speed of AI with the judgment of real people. Find our full archive at neuralnewscast.com.
Innovation and tech trends are next. Apple's next iOS release will bring a major CarPlay overhaul, including glanceable updates and a refreshed maps and interface design. Here's Kara Swift with more.
Apple plans a fall rollout, delivering CarPlay's biggest overhaul in years. The headline change brings glanceable, real-time updates alongside maps and media. Track flights, check sports scores, watch weather shifts, or follow a delivery at a glance. Apple also refreshes maps and key driving apps for clearer directions and faster access. A new liquid glass design personalizes the look beyond simple light or dark modes. The result, less tapping, more awareness, safer drives. This is Kara Swift for Neural Newscast.
Turning to the environment now. Scientists are deploying low-cost IoT sensors to detect climate-driven shallow landslides earlier and alert authorities. Here's Samuel Green with more.
Researchers deploy low-cost sensors to spot shallow landslides earlier as climate change drives heavier rain. The system links dozens of IoT devices across slopes to track soil moisture, ground movement, and rainfall in real time. Algorithms flag rising risk and send alerts to local authorities and residents. Early warnings can buy crucial minutes to evacuate and protect roads, pipelines, and homes. The team reports field tests show reliable detection and fewer false alarms, helping communities prepare as storms intensify.
Wildfire smoke is now reaching Canada's Arctic, bringing rare hazy skies and health warnings for northern communities. Here's Stephen Summers with more.
Wildfire smoke now reaches Canada's Arctic, a sight once rare but increasingly common. Communities in Nunavut and the Northwest Territories report hazy skies and lower air quality during recent fire seasons. Warmer, drier summers lengthen burn periods and push smoke farther north. Health agencies warn children, elders, and people with lung or heart conditions face higher risks. Flights face delays, and hunters report reduced visibility on the land. Scientists link the trend to a warming climate that amplifies fuel dryness and lightning-driven ignitions. This is Stephen Summers for Neural Newscast.
Let's take a look at world news. Fire crews warn that parked cars blocked access roads to a mountain blaze, delaying engines and risking lives. Here's Laura Navarro with more.
Fire engines struggle to reach a mountain blaze after cars blocked access roads. Officials urge people to stay away, keep routes clear, and avoid sightseeing. Crews deploy multiple engines and dim water carriers, but narrow lanes and parked vehicles slow response. Authorities warn delays risk larger flames, drifting smoke, and evacuations. Please leave the area and free up the roads, the fire service says, stressing safety for residents, hikers, and firefighters. This is Laura Navarro for Neural Newscast.
A look at what's happening in entertainment. A 75-year-old survivor of abuse at a Florida boys' school finally received his high school diploma, marking closure decades later. Here's Lydia Holmes with more.
At age 75, Eddie Horn finally receives his high school diploma in St. Petersburg, Florida. He walks the stage Thursday at St. Petersburg High, completing a goal denied in the 1960s. Horn says abuse at the state-run Dozier School for Boys derailed his education when he was 14. The school later became notorious for beatings and molestation. His graduation offers a measure of closure and a public acknowledgement of survivors. This is Lydia Holmes for Neural Newscast.
That wraps up our coverage for today. That wraps our round of reports for this hour. For extended coverage, visit neuralnewscast.com. Thanks for tuning in to Neural Newscast. For full stories and breaking updates, visit neuralnewscast.com and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. I'm Andrew Lindbeck. See you next time.
Join the conversation. Follow Neural Newscast on X, connect with us on Bumble and Facebook, or visit neuralnewscast.com for all things NNC. Neural Newscast integrates real and AI-generated voices to facilitate efficient, high-quality news production. Developed by human experts, our AI-generated content undergoes rigorous fact-checking and human review before publication. While we strive for accuracy and neutrality, AI-generated content may occasionally contain errors. We encourage listeners to verify crucial details from reliable sources. For more on our AI transparency practices, visit newscast.com.